Trinity 64 is an action-adventure monster tamer heavily inspired by Elden Ring and Zelda with an N64 visual style. And in this month's devlog, I want to show some of the improvements and expansions I've made to the combat of the game. Before going over what I did this month, I have to talk about last month's devlog cause yeah. It reached way outside its normal audience. It was truly amazing to see all of the excitement and encouragement from everyone. There were some criticisms and even some negativity, but overall most people seemed to like the look and idea of the game, which is honestly really awesome. This is even more evident as I almost doubled not only the subscriber count of the channel, but the wish list on Steam. Since that devlog, I have over doubled, which is insane. So I can't thank you enough for the support, even if it was just silently watching. With that being said, you probably saw the disclaimer at the beginning of this video. That was because I need people to understand that this game is very early in development, and not only that, I haven't even been 3D modeling for a year. Hell, I haven't even been trying to learn game dev for a year. So I need people to know that what you're seeing is a noob just trying to make something they're passionate about. It ain't gonna be perfect, and it's gonna take time to make things look good. But the point of these devlogs isn't to show things as I want you to see them, but as they are, even if that turns people off or causes people to say something negative. But anyways, let's talk about what I did this month, cause man, it went by very fast. For starters, I decided to remove stamina, or at least try my best to design around not having it. While I am making a Souls-like-esque game, I also want more of an arcade-like feel to the combat similar to Ocarina of Time. I'm trying to find a middle ground, but I do want to try and not have stamina if possible. Just like all video game resources, it's meant to make the player choose their actions carefully, because choice is what makes games fun. My first way of addressing this was by changing the basic attack of the player. There's now more of a wind-up before the attack goes off, so it's a little slower to compensate for the lack of stamina. It's also nice because it feels like there's a little more weight behind the sword. This is further enhanced by the dash forward not happening until the sword is actually swung. I also think the animations look better, which is something people said looked off last month. Another thing I improved was the lock-on. I added a temporary health bar and reticle, even allowing the player to swap between targets nearby in a similar style to Elden Ring. This is done by using multiple traces that detect guardians nearby, and when pressing the lock-on button, you lock onto the one closest to you and where you're looking. The lock-on also plays a part in the basic attack system. If you're locked onto a target and are within a certain distance of it, when you attack, you'll actually reach the target's position. This instantly made the lock-on feel a lot better and more consistent. Another thing I did to make the attacking feel better is adding some slight knockback to the guardians when struck. So couple this knockback with your ability to get back into range of the target, it just overall makes the combat feel so much better. Something you might have noticed is the improved strafing animation. While it's not perfect, it's definitely a lot better than the placeholder one from last video that so many people commented on. The location I'm showing in this video is going to be the basic combat playtest area. I wanted a very simple location, but I also wanted to practice more art for my game. I try to keep things simple. There's not much to say since I'm not quite finished, but I really love the look, and one of my favorite parts of this area are the walls. I actually used a local store where I live and took photos of the walls and took them into Photoshop, combined and edited them to create this texture. If you want a more in-depth explanation of how I make my textures, let me know and I'll try to make a simple video about it. Now for the bigger highlight of this video. Let's be honest, my game isn't gonna have the style and ferocity of a DMC game, or the variety of a From Software Souls-like. But I do believe I can make the player combat more interesting and add at least a little more depth than what I currently have. My solution for that was something I've been patiently waiting to do since the very beginning. This mystical sword that you obtain at the beginning of the game is the only weapon you'll have, but there's more to it than that. This sword has the ability to transform into different variants. This is going to be one of the main combat mechanics of the game. Throughout your journey, you may explore and discover something called a core. A core is this orb in the middle of the sword. The one currently in your sword is called the Order Core. When you find a core, you'll be able to swap out your current one and replace it at fountains. This will not only transform the look of your sword, but give it new properties. Each sword has a passive and a primary and secondary ability, and they will vary wildly. The Order Sword is meant to be versatile, but also beginner friendly. Its passive is simple. Whenever you heal using your canteen, you'll receive a buff that reduces the damage you take for a duration. This will help new players who maybe aren't used to the healing of the game, but also can still be used to go in for an aggressive attack after healing. Its primary ability is a ranged attack, basically a sword beam, wave slash type of attack. This gives the player a ranged option, but it deals minor damage. It can be used in a variety of circumstances like pulling aggro or breaking pots or tall grass from afar. maybe even finishing off a guardian from a safe distance. And the secondary attack gives you a powerful dash strike that is a lot farther and more powerful than your basic attacks. But before you can use it, you have to cast it first. Now, how do you use these abilities? Well, the passives don't have a cost since they're a passive, aka constantly active, even though that doesn't make much sense. To use the special abilities though, you first need to have a sword charge available. You'll only ever have 3 charges, and each ability costs 1 to 3 charges to use. By holding down the empowered input, your sword becomes charged. While holding it down, you can press your light attack button to activate the primary ability, or the heavy attack button to activate the secondary ability. As an example, the wave slash costs 1 sword charge. So by pressing the light attack button, you'll see the charge reticle of the wave slash attack. And whenever you let go of the attack, you'll do the ability. For the secondary ability, it costs 2 sword charges. So while holding down the empowered button and pressing the heavy attack, you'll perform an animation. Once that animation is finished, your sword will be charged and your next light attack will cause you to stab forward. It even works with the lock-on to increase the range even further. In order to gain back these charges, you'll need to strike a guardian with your regular attacks. So as you can see, the idea is to create a flow of combat that gives the player options, but also forces them to make choices, or at least that's the goal. And here are some future variants of the swords, just to give you a glimpse of what these variants will actually look like. Trust me, I have a lot of ideas for the abilities, and they will have the possibility of interacting with the guardians on your team. Ultimately, that's the goal, to mix and match swords and your team to kind of create different combat scenarios. While I work on setting up my playtest, next month's devlog will probably be a little different than normal. I'd like to thank all of my Guardian tier patrons for your support, and a big thank you to my Guide tier patrons. And lastly, my Trinity tier patrons, Illiteracy, Tome of Light, Lulu No Legend, Doubtfuller, Eon, and Jesse Amarasu. Thank you guys so much for watching. Before going, I'm gonna have a section where I just ramble and talk about stuff unscripted while I play my game. So, hope you enjoy. All right. Hey guys, what's up? So yeah, I just wanted to kind of make small little bits at the end of the devlogs where I kind of just talk unscripted while casually playing the game, just to show you not only raw gameplay in the moment, but just kind of give more thoughts that I might not have said in the script or whatever. So, you know, currently I'm actually really happy with the game. The look of everything, the feel. There's some, you know, hiccups here and there, but overall it's feeling pretty awesome. I like the effects of everything, and yeah, it's really cool. This little, well, hold on. Alright, as you can see, this charge effect on the sword is actually inspired by when Link charges his sword in Ocarina of Time and stuff. If I just press it, it just starts doing it. It's really cool. Another thing is that losing my train of thought here. Oh yeah, so I didn't say this in the video, but I actually remodeled the sword. You probably can tell, you might not, but I remodeled it. It's a lot cleaner now, because the sword was one of the first things I modeled in the game. So remodeling it, I think it now looks a lot better. It even has these little dots, which also simultaneously like line up with the sword charges. It's not super noticeable, and honestly, I could probably just remove it, but originally I had it there before I removed the stamina, and then I was like, well, I could just add an actual UI element up top. I also kind of like the health bar right now. Like, the UI in general is just placeholder. It's not really something that I'm too focused on, and it doesn't take me that long to put that type of stuff together because I'm used to doing graphic design stuff. But yeah, I think it looks a little bit more aesthetically pleasing. I know some people are probably wondering about like the circular health bars that I had before. I'm not going to be adding that for a bit just because I want to keep things clean so I can focus on just the functionality of things. I know that's like a big thing. You know, a lot of people will comment on like the looks of things in the videos and be like, oh, you should definitely do this. And that's kind of the struggle with posting monthly devlogs, because, you know, I cut off what I'm doing at that moment. So it's like I could be in the middle of doing something. I'm like, all right, I have to make the video even though this doesn't look that great. So, you know, it is what it is. It's fine. There's still some effect updates that I need to do. The sword kind of glows more whenever it's like this. Just to show you that it's active. Also buff the sprite a little bit. All of them. That's to kind of compensate for the lack of stamina and stuff. And yeah, so there's still bugs where they take damage from their own ability, so that's why it died when I blocked that attack. That's all stuff I'm going to be working on this coming up month. That's also a bug where I'm able to do the stab twice before, like twice in a row, even though I shouldn't be able to. All that stuff's easy to fix. I just haven't done it because, yeah. The blocking definitely needs some more improvement. As you can see, they can damage themselves. They're not supposed to be able to, but like I said, that's going to be fixed for the uh-oh. It's going to be fixed for the playtest. But overall, the combat feels still, like, even despite all these bugs, it just feels a lot more, like, interactive and fun. I've actually been enjoying, like, playtesting the game and stuff, or just messing around with things. That's kind of interesting. But, yeah, you know, and I know ultimately people are seeing things and are like, they're going to be like, oh, that doesn't look that good, or that's whatever. And honestly, that's just going to be part of it. Like, I'm showing a lot of work in progress stuff, and people are going to see, like, one little thing and just be like, oh, this is bad. But it's really not that big of a deal. Like, a lot of this stuff I'm going to be fixing, and this, trust me, this game is not going to be perfect by any means. Because like I said, I'm still learning and stuff, and I'm just having fun, like, making something. I'm having fun just bringing all my, like, ideas to life and just having something to play. I mean, making a game is kind of like a culmination of all the things I like, so, yeah, it's just really fun. As you can see, there's also these little... These trees are really cool. They're based on, like, the trees from Ocarina of Time 3DS. And I even have little leaves falling. I really like the little leaves. They're pretty cool. I used vertex colors to kind of change this ground. So it's basically two different textures kind of blended into each other. And it looks pretty good in my opinion. You can see that I did it along the edges here. Just trying to break up the monotony of the area. And this area is not done. Like, there's going to be some variations and stuff. And actually, right here is going to be where the fountain is. So there's not going to be enemies here. There's going to be a fountain. And then Philip will be over here so you can hit him. And I think it's going to be kind of like a fun little thing. Like I said, it's just going to be like a little bit of a playtest. But I kind of want it to be I don't want to say polished, but I don't want it to be super bare bones. I kind of want it to be a good representation of a lot of the stuff that I've done already. But yeah, attacking feels a lot better in my opinion. Even though it is slower, it still feels a lot better. Feels impactful and stuff. But yeah, that's pretty much all I have to really say. If you have any questions, let me know. You know, work in progress, that's what it is. So, like I said, next month, I'm not really sure what the devlog's going to be, because there's mostly just going to be, like, bug fixes and stuff to get ready for the playtest. But if you want to know, like, If you want me to talk about something specific, I'm probably gonna make like a video talking about textures. So yeah, just let me know if that's something that you're interested in seeing. But yeah, I'll see you guys next time.